how do we build the remaining world begins to say, hey, there is a value in family, there is a value in this. And I will preface it by sharing with my audience and you people again that as a senator once told me, that we love you Indians as immigrants to this country. You are professionals, you are hardworking, you are the highest median income, you have family values, you take care of your children, you are not a law and order problem anywhere in the world as an immigrant community, and you ask for nothing. Has the time come for us to ask and assert for who we are and what our values are? Ankitji, you.
So, this is my understanding that it is the Indian parenting which runs the geoeconomics of the entire world. It's not the children. It's the Indian parenting which is running the entire geoeconomics of this world across centuries. So, why is it so? Because one end of extreme capitalism is talking that individual is the lowest economic unit. The other end of extreme communism is talking an unknown mob is the lowest economic unit.
Right.
It is only the Indian Sanatan economics model which is saying family is the lowest economic unit. So capitalism and communism both are actually nothing but outsourcing of family sacrifices on unknown people outside the family. So either you are getting exploited by your grandfather or you want to be exploited by unknown people. That is the choice that you got. Okay? Now, the fact that the growth that the United States and the Chinese nation has seen, both these models, perpetually models based on predefining what benefits that can be exploited outside from others. These are not homegrown models of growth. So first, the United States with the endless printing currency benefit that it has, which is obviously funding this kind of infrastructure and all that was possible during the dollarization era. Similar Wall Street finance was passed on to Chinese Communist Party after what I mentioned, the 1979 President Carter and Deng Xiaoping meeting that they had, where Deng Xiaoping said that we want this kind of technology, and he was told, finish off your consumption. So he comes back and announces a brutal single-child policy. Okay? Now, this kind of Abrahamic economics, where you believe this is the only life that you got, based on religions of foreign origin, in this kind of economic model, you lose your birth rates because it is a hyper-consumption debt-based model of growth, which means you are stealing from the pockets of the future generation and spending it right now. And then you are deploying women for a temporary GDP unit of labor in the British classroom model for supporting the pound as a single country reserve currency, which started 400 years back. In this, you are losing the birth rate as well. So one, you want to steal from the future generation's pocket and spend it right now, but you don't want to give birth to the future generation. How does this economic model survive? So they have opened up the borders. So they have opened up the borders in the European Union. They have opened up the borders in South America. Okay, the Mexicans are coming in, everybody is coming from the Texas and Eagle Pass and all that stuff. Because they realize who's going to pay the debts. But those people who are coming in, they are coming in for freebies. They are not coming in for working. They are coming attracted to that dollar endless printing machine. Okay? So there is an imminent clash that the Europe and the American nation is going to witness when this clash of intents happen. When the illegals who are entering, they are coming for benefits, but you think that they will do productivity, and that's why you let them in, right? So clash is imminent. I've already predicted in my book.
Please repeat. Please repeat what you missed out for 5 seconds.
You muted for about 10 seconds.
What did you say in your book?
Okay. So I have mentioned in the book that how European Union is going to face crusades and because of these radicals who have come in, and UK will face partition, And United States, as we are seeing the dilution of fiat dollar cities, California because it is an IT capital, New York because it is a finance capital, a scripted de-dollarization that is going on with all the IT and finance capitals worldwide. Look at the Chinese growth. That is also not an organic homegrown growth. This is for sponsoring the democracy and the freedoms of the rest of the world. The Chinese tortured their own citizens and used their own natural resources and polluted their own nation. Okay? Now, in this model, the Wall Street was financing that endless printing of dollars, which is why the Chinese products were able to be sold below cost. Okay? That is how they have sponsored, the communist nation has sponsored their growth. And Taiwan and Hong Kong were used as agencies for routing this free trade transaction, while the mainland character was kept communist intact. Okay, so they enjoyed all the benefits of free trade, but still kept the mainland communist because Taiwan and Hong Kong were used as a routing agency. Okay, so that growth was also not a normal growth, which so India is never going to get that benefit of free Wall Street finance from the endless printing machine of dollar. India is also not going to get the benefit of allowing stealing of tech from the West to deploy tech here.
Yeah.
You won't be allowed that benefit. Why China was allowed that benefit? Because it was sponsoring the freedoms, the democracy, the art, dance, and culture the West was enjoying. That is why China was allowed those benefits.
Quick interruption. You said it was allowed. That means U.S. government did it deliberately.
100%. 100%. I mean, the first de-dollarization that happened was the launch of euro currency in the 1999. Okay. After that, the European Union said that we are no more going to park our savings in the US dollar and US Treasury, with which the entire IT sector bubble burst violently in what we call as the dot-com crash of 2002. So it was the Chinese Communist Party which promised that we will park our savings in US Treasury, which is why US brought China in WTO in 2001. And then, it became the manufacturing giant that it has become. So we need to know if that was the first de-dollarization where the IT sector lost 78% valuations. This is the final de-dollarization going on. So you can imagine what is going to happen with the Western IT sector.
What's the time frame for that?
Next 20 months, I do believe the entire banking and the Western IT sector will be wrapping up.
I like the way you very crystal clear manner is that they will be wrapping up. Okay, घर चलो अब वापस. I'm on to the last question. This is a fascinating conversation with the two young people here in India, and I'm enjoying it because I see hope for India in the future. With minds like you and Vinasji are successful in pushing the correct narrative and the correct historical traditions of what we are, I think India has a great future. And I think I'm proud about that, saying that this century belongs to India and you are the leaders of this entire movement. But I want to come back to one more thing. The ability to cause disruption, that's very important. Ability to cause disasters. How does India protect itself from digital theft, digital data vanishing? I mean, in America, everybody has conceded that my data is somewhere with the Chinese or somebody is already hacking it all, right? The other day, the news came about that my social security and everything has been already sold to China. So Chinese have understood that everything in America has a price. If you are willing to pay the price, the thing is available. How does a common man protect itself against the digital theft and data theft and identity theft? Well, that's what will inspire confidence. And that's why you are looking at, just as in food consumption, organic is fashion now back again. Wellness is fashion back again. The GMO kind of things are no longer very valid. How does India protect itself against the digital theft, digital, piracy, which you witnessed your experience in the last few days? That will be the last question of the day. Then we'll talk again. Go ahead. Vinasji, you take off.
I think India's participation in multilateral platforms, because digital infrastructure is not something isolated. Obviously, the digital sphere is not like how the territorial spheres are. So, I think India's participation and India's leadership in multilateral, platforms, like if you remember the India, Middle East, Europe corridor that was being planned, it was not just about territorial infrastructure, but it was also about digital infrastructure. And similarly, if you look at Quad, there are aspects of the digital infrastructure that are part of the Quad as well. When it comes to ensuring security, between the partner countries, and obviously the digital theft. Something we need to understand is that the digital theft is embedded in the geopolitical context. So, yeah, that's the most important thing. Uh, we are being targeted, and we are not being targeted just in the air, or it is not just happens that it is happening with agendas. Um, Today the security it involves digital